So in the interest of time, I will try to keep my presentation concise, and short. But first of all, I really appreciate your invitation. It's really my honor to be here today to speak with all of you and share two of my research projects in this topic. So today, I would like to talk about a very important issue in our society and community. So it is sexual violence. So broadly speaking, sexual violence include any sex act committed without the informed or voluntary consent of individual. So it is very important to understand that consent must be informed and indeed ongoing. So the concept of ongoing consent underscores the fact that the consent can be withdrawn at any time, actually. So an individual has the right to change their mind at any point, whether before or during sexual encounters. And also, consent should be specific. Agreement to one act doesn't imply consent to another. For example, agreeing to kiss doesn't equate to consenting to further sexual intimacy. So similarly, consenting to have one photo taken does not automatically mean agreeing to the dissemination of those photos. So there are different types of sexual violence, including attempt of completed rape, sexual coercion, compelling someone to engage in sexual activities against their own will through pleasure, manipulation, or threat, and unwanted sexual contact, any non-consensual interaction of a sexual nature, whether online or physical. And we also confront the act of stealthing, the intentional removal of a condom during intercourse without the partner's consent or agreement. And we must not overlook image-based sexual violence, which is an emerging issue in our community. So based on international study, actually there are a great disparity of sexual violence when we compare MSM with the heterosexual counterparts. It has been found that MSM are 6 times more likely to experience sexual violence in any form compared with heterosexual populations. And turning our attention to the disturbing prevalence of image-based sexual violence, another study, actually it is the data from Australia. So it is found that approximately 30% of MSMs have experienced image-based sexual violence. So this data is not just a number, actually, and provides solid evidence that there is a need to demand our immediate attention and action to tackle this emerging issue in our society. So because actually, of course, sexual violence or image-based sexual violence are not a very new topic in academic. But however, it's true that the study is really understudied in Chinese population. So we can't just utilize the Western population findings to apply to our Hong Kong setting because the cultural difference, the legal system are different. So maybe we need our own study in our local context to listen the silent voice from our participants. So that's the reason why I would like to focus on this research in our area. So actually, one of my research aimed to understand the perception and experience related to sexual violence among MSN in our Hong Kong setting. So it was actually the first similar study in the local setting in Hong Kong. So in a nutshell, so we recruited 31 Chinese MSNs through different online platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and through the partnership with NGO like AIDS Concern. Thank you very much. And we conducted individual semi-structural interview to gather the detailed personal narrative and insights. And we try to analyze the data using thematic analysis. So we have identified 4 themes based on our study findings. So I will go through it one by one briefly. So in our study, the first theme is emerged as the recognition of the various forms of sexual violence of MSN in Hong Kong, so ranging from physical to virtual acts. So a particularly disturbing trend we uncovered is the practice of stealthing. So as what I mentioned before, where an insertive partner non-consensually remove a condom during a anal intercourse without the consent of the bottom. So one participant revealed that, okay, his partner has initially agreed to use a condom. However, despite this agreement, the participant later discovered that the condom has been removed intentionally by his partner. So such experience underlying a concerning belief among our participants that bottom are particularly susceptible to stealthing. This vulnerability is actually attributed to the difficulties in monitoring consistent condom use throughout the sexual encounter due to the nature of certain sexual positions. So a deeply concerning sub-theme that emerged from our study is the issue of forced camp sex. So participants also share harrowing experiences of being pressured into camp sex, despite the clear refusal to engage in such acts at the very beginning of such sexual encounter. So this highlights a troubling aspect of coercion within the community that extends beyond physical force and to the substance-induced pressure. Additionally, concern about the inclusiveness of hotels, the LGBT friendliness of hotels is another issue. So this apprehension had led many LGBT members to seek more anonymous venue for sexual encounter, such as gay sauna, for example. However, these settings also have their own risks. For example, some of our participants expressed that because the rooms are very dark, it is very difficult to detect whether a partner has removed the condom or not. So this experience, as conveyed by many of our study participants, underscore the alarming risks associated with sexual encounter in specific physical venues. So a further alarming issue identified from our research is the non-consensual sharing of intimate photos or videos. So our findings indicate that there is a high preference of unauthorized videos and photos from sexual encounter being circulated on different online platforms like Tumblr or Twitter. So participants have recounted distressing instances where sexually explicit images themselves were distributed without their permission by their ex-partner or the current partners. So furthermore, participants have discovered altered version, photoshopped version of their photos with some misleading captions spread on various online platforms as well. So this image often serves as a tool for coercion used to pressure individuals into performing sexual acts or entering into a relationship against their own views. So the second major insight we have gained is about the intense emotional struggle that come with being a victim. So people who have had to deal with the foster sexual experience share a very deep pain, terror, and worries they went through. For MSN in the Hong Kong society, so the pain is often worsened by the negative views they face, whether it is at home, at work, or even within the medical care system. The fear hit even harder when it comes to the risk of HIV or other STI infections, other the incident of sexual abuse. So the harsh judgment about being MSN get tangled up with the fear about the HIV infection. This creates an incredibly tough situation for those who have survived sexual violence as well. One person actually told us that, okay, they feel extreme panic over the possibility to getting HIV after the sexual violence incident. What made it even scarier was that his family didn't know actually he's gay, so the thought of having to come out about his own sexual orientation and to deal with an HIV diagnosis feel like it is a very impossible task to manage in his life. So participants has also shared serious worry about their reputation being damaged in the gay community because their image was shared without their permission. When this image get out, along with the mean comments and other false information, it's not just a violation of privacy, actually. It's also bring them unwanted attention and a bad kind of fame. Yeah. And also, the fallout from this kind of exposure is quite serious when these private images are shown to family members or even co-workers. So without their permission, it can lead to being treated unfairly and harsh judgment in both one's personal life or their career. Take, for instance, the heartbreaking story from one of our participants that his sensitive photos and personal information were sent to his brother on Facebook. So this caused a lot of embarrassment within the family. And to make things even worse, so this same set of photos were spread around the workplace and with false claim about him getting HIV infections. So because of this breach of his privacy, his boss made him to get an HIV test. And if eventually his contract renewal is failure, so you can see that how damaged it can be from the personal life and career life for the victim. So this story highlights just damages privacy breaches can be for the member of the MSM community in Hong Kong. So this can get hit hard in their personal life as well as in their career, showing a clear need to have better protection for privacy against and also against the discrimination. And the third key theme we uncovered is that there is a bit of, it's quite different from previous themes, that some people may think that, it won't happen to me attitudes during the sexual violence among MSNs. Some guys we talked to thought that sexual violence is pretty rare in the community and didn't really see it is something that could happen to them. So a lot of, some of them feel that, okay, when it happened, they are strong enough because they are both men, I should be able to fight back as well. And this guy also feel pretty confident that they can stop the trouble before it starts, either by standing up or escape from some dangerous situation in gay sauna, for example. So they hold the view that they would not fall victims to any non-consensual imaging or video taking as well. So as there is a common belief, if someone tries to put something like that, they it would backfire and ruin the perpetrator reputation in MSM community as well. So it is a very different view from from other participants. So the fourth theme we identify related to the proactive measure and tactics people try to use to avoid sexual violence they may encounter. Those we spoke with have described tactics as taking specific precaution, like being very careful to pick places for sexual encounter they believe as lower risk. For example, they think that, okay, going to a hotel may be safer because the lighting is better and it is impossible for them to install the hidden camera in advance, better than go to sexual partner's home because you never know whether they will install the hidden camera in advance. So therefore, some people may suggest that, okay, it will be safer for them to rent a hotel and go to have sexual encounter to prevent any image-based sexual violence happen. And to tackle the risk to the picture being spread without their approval, many have gotten more cautious about how much personal information they let slip on the internet, or maybe they will change their photo sharing practice. They may just share same set of photos, so in case it's leaked out, so the damage can be minimized as well. So even though some people are trying hard to stop sexual violence, unfortunately, many people think that it is very difficult to prevent sexual violence because it can happen in so many different ways or situations. And actually, sexual violence can take different forms, like physical sexual abuse or even image-based sexual violence or technology-facilitated sexual abuse. So making things worse is how people often see sexual violence. The shame can stop victims from seeking help from police or other authority. So sometimes the law in Hong Kong does not really treat certain harmful acts as crime. If one participant said that, okay, she tried to report what happened to the police, but the police didn't think it was a criminal offense. So he was advised to handle it through a civil dispute solution by employing a lawyer. So that's another issue that some victims encounter. And unfortunately, because of the legal system in Hong Kong, actually cannot protect the victim of sexual violence sometimes. So our study highlights the deep-rooted stigmatization and discrimination within our society can significantly hinder Chinese MSN who suffer from sexual violence from pursuing support. So healthcare profession and like social worker and educator actually has to be more informed and sensitive to such idea. This should create a more supportive environment that welcome open discussion with sexual violence with male client as well. And also, it is very important to have a more inclusive and comprehensive care for survivors of sexual violence, like screening for sexual abuse, managing STI, provide pro-exposure prophylaxis, immediate medical treatment, and importantly, psychosocial support. Because based on our study finding, the psychosocial impact of sexual violence is very, very substantial among our MSM populations. So if you are interested to know more, then you can refer to this paper because the finding has been published here. So, and the second part and very short part is about my ongoing study about technology-facilitated sexual abuse in Hong Kong. So I conducted this study because based on my previous study, is found that image-based sexual violence and technology-facilitated sexual abuse are emerging and become more and more prevalent. So that's why I applied for the grant from the government and support this study. So there are two parts of this study. The first part is also a qualitative study to gain an in-depth understanding of the perception and experience of TSFA among MSN in Hong Kong. And the second part is a cross-sectional survey study to estimate the prevalence of TSFA victimization and perpetration and their psychosocial correlates. So it is very super important that our study, normally when you try to read Google or read the paper, most academic study only focus on victim. But in this study, one academic merit of this study, we also try to recruit, although very difficult, to recruit the perpetrator because we want to get an overall picture of what happened. We also want to know the motivation and why they would like to do it. So that's why in our study, we have recruited 3 groups of people. One group without any sexual violence experience, and one group is, of course, the survivor of the sexual violence. Another group is the perpetrator as well. So based on our very preliminary findings, so it's the common theme from different group of participants also find that sexual violence is actually a very, very common issue in the gay community. However, there is a common problem where people don't always take this issue as serious as they should. And when sexual violence happens a lot, it may also make people think that badly about the gay community, affecting the overall LGBTQ plus movement in Hong Kong as well. And also, there are also big issues with people not seeing all the different ways of sexual violence can happen. Things like sharing someone's private picture without consent or stalking someone online does not always get recognized as one form of sexual abuse as well. And also, when someone some people think that, okay, sexual violence can't be avoided because it happens so often in the gay community. They said that because casual meetups are pretty common in the LGBTQ community, so there are more chances for sexual violence to happen, especially when people don't behave ethically. So many people also feel that people who do this thing often don't get punished. So it is really hard to make rules to stop it. This means people feel that that's actually hopeless for stopping sexual violence. So it is actually quite sad what happened in Hong Kong. So we also try to understand more about the perception of people with no such experience. So they think that they have been careful enough to avoid it, and they take every step to stay safe, so they don't expect sexual violence can happen to them. So, but unfortunately, some may also blame the victim partially. They may think that, okay, it is because victim maybe partially can be blamed because they did not protect themselves and careful enough. They should not take picture. They should not share their private picture with others. If they don't do it, then it will not share. So some of the MSM participants also think that the victim partially is responsible for such acts as well. So people in our study, for those who are the victim or the survivor of sexual violence, they have a very strong feeling of betrayal and make them have a very strong anger. But however, they think it is very helpless. They don't know what they can do, and they just suck it up, and then they think it is really out of their control. Another very not interesting but surprising finding is that some victims may think that, okay, they are being victim because they are sexually appealing. So that's why, okay, I'm so hot and sexy, so that's why people will abuse me. So I think it is also very surprising finding emerging from our preliminary data as well. So for the perpetrator, so some of them, of course, know what they are doing is actually wrong, but they feel a strong pull to do it anyway. Yeah, they just want to do it. Yeah, and there are people who will stop this behavior if they have also faced the same consequences of what they did. For example, like they need to face some potential legal consequences, or they become the victim suddenly. Yeah, so if they have such experience, may also make them think twice about their action as well. And of course, there are also some people don't think their action as a problem. So they may take, for example, like, okay, just sharing, retweeting a private picture is not a big deal. I'm not the originator. I'm not the one who took the picture. I just share it. So they don't think sharing it may also constitute certain kind of harm to the victim as well. So in our survey, a quantitative survey, so because it's still an ongoing study, so we only recruit a small number of the participants so far. But surprisingly, so we find that almost 90% of our participants has experienced sexual violence, at least one on online platform. Maybe they have received some sexual message or picture they did not ask for, or people making sexual requests they are not really comfortable with. And nearly 4 in 10 participants report that their private photos were shared by others without their permission, but either by current sexual partner or ex-sexual partner as well. And around 3 out of 10 mentioned that they have been through sexual abuse in person with someone they met online, like dating apps like Grindr or Jetty, for example. So it is very important to teach the public more about this issue. People should be more educated more about what constitutes sexual violence and its potential consequences. And of course, we need a strong legal framework to regulate this issue in order to stop people from becoming a perpetrator as well. So we need to work together to listen to those who have been silenced and unite together to against all this abuse. And our main aim is to make online space safe and welcome for everyone, no matter their gender and who they love. And our rising awareness is just the beginning, and we have to keep active steps to ensure that everyone is treated with respect and safe on the online platform. So that's the end of my presentation. And if you are interested, you can feel free to reach me out through Twitter. So thank you very much. Yeah.